I would listen to his tapes vociferously. And I recall one tape in particular where Malcolm's house had just been bombed, and he was invited to Detroit by Reverend Cleve. And he was apologizing to the audience for his condition. And he said, you know, no matter what happened to me, I had to be here with my brother, Reverend Cleve, in Detroit. So that's how I was first introduced to the shrine. I was also first introduced to the Congo through Brother Malcolm. He would almost always talk about the Congo, almost always talk about Lumumba. But why? Why did the Congo matter so much to Malcolm in the 1960s? Why was this black man talking about a country halfway around the world, probably more than any other country? Why does the Congo matter? Well, after listening to Malcolm, I did some research. The first research I did was to find the Congolese, asked them about the Congo, asked them why their country was so important. What did I discover? Why should you care about the Congo? Found the Congo is in the heart of Africa, straddling the equator, bordered by 9 other African countries, the size of Western Europe. One country that Chairman Mao said that he who controls the Congo controls the world. That may be hyperbole, but the fact that you can state that about a country says something about its importance. Former South African President Thabo Mbeki just flat out said, there is no new Africa without a new Congo. Frantz Fanon said, Africa is like a pistol. Congo is the trigger. You pull that trigger, it sets off a combustion that'll ignite the entire continent. He went on to say, the fate of all of us is at stake in the Congo. Now, President Obama, he's no Pan-Africanist, right? He's a Democrat. But even a Democrat can recognize the significance of the Congo. He said that if Africa is to achieve its promise, resolving the problem in the Congo will be critical, right? So that's why Congo matters, because it's the fulcrum on which the African continent swings. So if you care about Africa, you got to care about the Congo. If you're concerned about African people, you have to be concerned about what's happening to the over 6 million people who have died in the Congo. So there is no excuse for us not to know about the Congo, not to care about the Congo. I told you Fanon, Chairman Mao, even Che Guevara went to the Congo in the 1960s. He said, Congo's problem is a world problem. And that's the call to conscience that we have for you in Atlanta and from people around the globe. We're traveling from city to city, from town to town, as Dr. King would say, from hamlet to hamlet, educating, mobilizing, because Congo today, the global movement around the Congo, is as important as the Free South Africa movement was yesterday. A strong Congo will result in a strong Africa. A strong Africa will result in a strong African world. So Congo is a key for the dignity of people of African ancestry throughout the globe. How can we, as black people in America today, know that 6 million of our family members have lost their lives and we're silent? We cannot afford to be silent. I say to you, as long as black bodies are devalued anywhere in the world, they'll be devalued everywhere in the world. Why doesn't Troy Davis get justice? Right? Why was Oscar Grant gunned down in Oakland? Why did the Gen 6 get treated the way they did? Because black lives are devalued. And no border prevents the devaluing of black lives. If they're devalued in Atlanta, they're devalued in Kinshasa. Why did Bush take so long to get to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina? Because the life of black people, people of African ancestry, are not as valued as other lives. So it's incumbent upon you and me to demonstrate our value for black life by joining in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the heart of Africa. And that's the call that we're making, the call to conscience, for us to value black life. And how do we value black life? At the very least, we break the silence. We say something. We tell our loved ones, we tell our family members, we say, listen, man, look at what's happening in Africa. Look what's happening in the Congo. We got to do something about it. We got to say something about it. So that's a point of departure. Right? Now, that's the tragedy. In speaking about the tragedy, informing people about the tragedy, educating people about the tragedy. But Congo also has enormous potential. Enormous potential. Congo has the hydro capacity to provide electricity for the entire African continent. Some left over to export to Europe and the Middle East. It has the agricultural capacity to feed the entire world through 2050, when the world's population will be 9 billion. It's a part of the second largest rainforest in the world, vital to the fight against climate change. Its natural wealth is valued at an estimated $24 trillion. That's the size of the gross national product of the United States and European Union combined. It has minerals for all known metals: gold, diamond, copper, tin, coltan, you name it. And that's why Congo is in the condition it's in, because people are scrambling to control that wealth. That's why black people are dying in the heart of Africa the way they are. That's why they got your head turned this way, away from the gold, away from the diamonds, right? Away from the coltan, away from the cobalt. They don't want you looking at Africa. Remember what Malcolm said? You left your mind in Africa. We need to turn our heads towards the continent, towards the Congo. See the enormous potential that is there. Right now, as I speak to you, there's an Israeli in the Congo. His name is Dan Gertler. He got access to some cobalt and copper mines. He didn't dig a hole, toss a pebble, none of that. He got the paper, right? He took that paper to the London Stock Exchange. They valued it at $1.5 billion. Just one mine. What's Dan Gertler doing? He's building settlements in the West Bank in Israel with the money from the Congo. What can you do with $1.5 billion in Atlanta? What can black people in America do by working in partnership with their brothers and sisters in the Congo to control the wealth and utilize the wealth for the benefit of Congo and for people here? So that's why they have your heads turned away. The enormous potential that exists. So Friends of Congo is working with their brothers and sisters in the Congo to stop the conflict, but we're also working to support groups on the ground. We're looking 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road. Half of Congo's population is 18 and under. We're working with young people on the ground who are clear that if they control the Congo and they control the destiny of the Congo, it will immediately affect 9 other countries around it. and the entire African continent. So, we're calling on you to join us in this global movement in doing two basic things. One, we're challenging U.S. foreign policy, because it was the United States government that worked to assassinate Congo's first elected prime minister, Patrice Lumumba. The CIA, with the Belgian government. Not only did they do that, they imposed a dictator on the Congolese people for over 3 decades, Joseph Desiré Mobutu. This government in America did that to the Congolese people. Not only did they do that, in the early 1990s, what did they do? They supported the invasion of Congo by Rwanda and Uganda that triggered the 6 million dead. So you have the levers to put pressure on the U.S. government so that they can stop supporting strong men in Africa that results in black people dying and results in Africa's wealth being looted. So we're calling on you to put pressure on your government. Tell President Obama, we want you to hold to your words in Ghana in 2009 when you said America is no longer going to support strong men, but going to support strong institutions. So that's what we want you to do. Put pressure on your government. Get your mayor, your council member, and ask them, what are you doing about the Congo? Our government assassinated their leaders in the 1960s, imposed a dictator on them. We owe them something. Then what we want you to do, what we call on you to do, we encourage you to do, is to support people on the ground. In the 1960s, Malcolm sent money to the rebels inside the Congo. No internet, no Facebook, no Twitter, but he knew the value of joining in solidarity with Congolese. Che Guevara left Latin America and went to the heart of Africa to train rebel groups in the Congo. You don't even have to do that. Log on to your computer, make a donation, spread the word, support our groups on the ground. The young people are fighting courageous battle. And they're not just fighting against their own leaders. You know who else they're fighting against? Citibank. Citibank provided a $5 million loan to a rebel group inside the Congo that was killing people and stealing resources. So Congo's challenge is not only internal, but it's external. That's why you have a role to play. We want you to support the groups that Citibank won't support. The groups that were concerned about people and not concerned about profit. So that's the call that we're making to you. Challenge your government, support groups on the ground. And you can do that through Friends of Congo. That's what we're doing. That's the call of conscience. That's the call to action. And we call on you to join us in that effort today for a bright, lasting future in the heart of Africa, which result in Africa being strong and the African world being strong and living that glorious future that Patrice Lumumba talked about. Thank you.
Thank you. Breaking the silence and redefining our role in our lives. Before we go to the question and answer session, how much was it to get in here today? Excuse me? Don't get quiet now. What? Nothing. It's going to cost you to leave. We would like, there are some baskets here. We would like to raise some funds here for the Friends of Congo, Lyndon. And we would like to also encourage, and encourage is not the word that I want a stronger word than that, compel you to support the Friends of Congo online. You see, some of us are not brave enough to put ourselves on the front line. Everybody doesn't do that. But all you got to do is press send. That's it. Nobody even has to know that you did it. Just press send on your computer on a regular basis and know that you're supporting the groups that are on the ground in the Congo that are on the side of righteousness. So we'd like to pass the basket around and ask that you support in whatever capacity that you can here today. I have learned so much in the last hour. Am I the only one? What? Oh, okay. And in so many ways, it's just immediately redefining my thought process and what it is that I know that I have to do. Because that's what it's all about, not only hearing and listening to the word, but also acting on it. Can we also, while we're up, pass out the participation forms so that we can have you fill those out? And we ask that you give what you can. You know, I know some of you can give more than others, and some of us can give less.